right after the war. She said, you have to learn English. English is very important to your future. So she started to send me to a tutor who was teaching me English, like very simple English. This is a book, and there is a table, or something like that. And I did not quite learn the language, but in that way, she taught me a feeling in my body that English was going to be very important in my future.
Learning first from the wives of American military based in Japan, who frequented his mother's shop, and later by earning scholarships to study at Stanford University and Harvard Business School, Ishii adopted the language of the New World Order and, against the odds, acquired prestigious qualifications. The young Ishii soon joined and transformed the family business back in Tokyo, replacing traditional art supplies like paintbrushes and ink with the groundbreaking new tools required for the digital age of the creative professional. Early on, he saw the potential of Macintosh computers as a creative vehicle and secured the license for importing them to Japan, along with new design software, marker pens, modelling clay for a booming car industry, and much more besides. A quick adopter of new technology, Ishii used his ability to interface between the US and a burgeoning clientele in Japan, establishing TWO Corporation as a heavyweight of the creative design supplies sector.
But the contents of the business changed from time to time, but I stayed with the same end user, creative professionals, and then the business kept growing. Never give up is something that I learned from my mother. So that's why when I started to new things with a belief, unless I'm convinced that I made a wrong decision, I try to keep coming back, and I try to make it grow. And I think, together with the help of my son, I've done right thing for Millbrook.
Ishii is not the first to steadfastly believe in the long-term value of developing this piece of land. 150 years ago, another foreign investor, this time 2 French brothers recently arrived in New Zealand, made their mark. Using the stream to generate power for a flour mill, they also planted the trees that now stand tall. Their foresight and early entrepreneurial uptake of electricity ensured neighbouring Arrowtown had power decades before the rest of the region. The farm stayed in the hands of the Boutel family for 80 years before becoming a sheep farm and even a hospital for recuperating soldiers after World War II. But by the 1980s, this was just another disused farm. A local business person saw the potential for a world-class golf resort, but it needed serious financial backing.
I have no idea. I have never came to New Zealand, but I had an image. It must be a good, nice place. Well, I'm sticking my nose into a tourist business, which I don't know too much about. But it was kind of fun project, to create paradise and with my friends. So we thought it's a nice risk-taking to that extent.
Ishii backed the golf resort idea and convinced a network of others to join him in the venture. 6 years later, in 1993, Millbrook opened as a resort complete with a 9-hole golf course designed by Sir Bob Charles. It was the first of its kind. Since then, other high-end resorts and golf courses have sprung up in the area, and the tourism scene around Queenstown has boomed, thanks in part to the pioneering example of Millbrook.
The important thing about Millbrook was it was the first development that sought to change the reason why a person would come to Queenstown, and it did that by creating a very special built environment around golf courses and latterly health spas and other facilities. They have lifted the bar on service. They have had an ambition around service levels that has taken them some time to achieve, but what that has done is set a new service standard for Queenstown as a resort destination. And that's not just a new service standard around visitors, that's a new service standard that is available to local people and residents as well, many of whom use Millbrook on a regular basis. The third thing they've done is they've changed the employment environment, and I think this is one of the most important things they've done. They've brought a completely fresh and open approach, driven, I think, by their ambitions around service level, to the way they employ local people. And they innovated job sharing and all sorts of other things to make sure that they could have a very high percentage of their employees being people who were normally resident in Queenstown rather than young people coming from overseas. And I think that has been a lesson that has been picked up by many other major employers in the hospitality industry.
Today, Millbrook employs 180 people, from chefs, cleaners and greenkeepers to managers and execs. They run 2 high-end restaurants, a cafe and hotel accommodation, as well as a beauty spa, fitness centre and, of course, a pro golf shop, all open to members and visiting public. This year, the Prime Minister opened the second 9-hole golf course, and a third and final 9 will open soon. The sale of private properties on the resort, along with country club memberships, is a vital part of Ishi's business model here.
Property has been very exciting. In the last 10 months, we've sold just over $15 million worth of property, and in a difficult time around the world, that's an incredible result. It's very satisfying. A lot of our purchasers have had property purchases here before at Millbrook and have traded up. Some of them have done 4 or 5 transactions over the years at Millbrook, which sort of is a testimony to the confidence they have in being here at Millbrook Resort.
These are the latest fairway houses under construction in the newest development. They're up for grabs if you can spare $1, $2 or $3 million. For those who can, the investment comes with a membership to the country club and all its facilities.
That's one strand of the operation. There is a commercial play in terms of the real estate side of things, but ultimately it will be a members club and a resort for people to travel to. It can only be as successful as the members are happy in the services that are provided by Millbrook. To date, and I've been a member since, I think it was 2000, the service facilities have just got better, and we're not standing still. We're actually providing better, more and stronger services as we move forward.
Now 72 and still leading his company while officially semi-retired, Ishi divides his time between Japan and New Zealand, spending time with grandchildren, playing golf and continuing to work at realising the dream that is Millbrook.
He's a magical man. He's done more for the Queenstown community than many other people who I think are more highly regarded within the community. Mr. Ishi has continued to support Millbrook to the benefit of all of the members and the local community.
But we have been very lucky in the Wakatit Basin and in the Lakes District for that matter, to have had enough visionaries, genuine visionaries, who not only have the vision, but have the tenacity and the resource to bring the vision to reality. We've been very, very lucky to have a number of them. And I think the most outstanding of them, without doubt, has been Mr. Ishi, because he has come to our country from a completely different social and financial environment. He has brought his own standards with him, and he has turned those standards into our standards. And that's something that I really welcome.
Never give up, and then have a target or what vision of what I want to accomplish. These are the 2 things I think my mother taught me, not by theory, but by kind of her performance. When I look at her, how she lived, that's the way she lived. And she said at the end of her life, she was the happiest person around the world. You know, that made me very happy.